Welcome back to the channel. This is Latta here, back with another video. Another day, another person using Caitlin Clark in foolishness to push forward their real agenda, or what should be their real agenda, but somehow it gets dropped on her doorstep to become her problem, her fans' problem, and to ultimately aim resistance at her. This time it comes from someone whose work I actually, really enjoy. Rob Parker was on his show on FS1, and he was talking about the NBA All-Star weekend, of course, which Caitlin Clark declined many weeks ago. And all of a sudden, the entire event wasn't happening anymore. There was no more Steph versus Sabrina even because the NBA could not up the ante from last year. They decided to kind of leave it where it's at. I find that interesting for a number of reasons. One, they knew who really stirred the drink, which is Caitlin Clark. Now, Steph versus Sabrina was an awesome event last year when it happened. I think it was the talk of All-Star Weekend, and the only way they could make it bigger was by adding Caitlin Clark. She's cognizant of that. Somehow, this still was being pushed as Steph versus Sabrina 2.0. I know people may think, well, it's just a name. They were talking about doing that. I don't think Caitlin Clark was going to show up to something named Steph versus Sabrina 2.0, personally. She's made it clear that she's going to appear for the WNBA and boost women's sports and do it in her home arena, essentially. So you would think that would be a noble enough reason to not only leave her alone, but not put her in stupid things like we're about to look at. So let's take a look at what Rob had to say. So I'm not going to play the audio or anything right here, but Rob Parker calls out Caitlin Clark for ruining NBA All-Star Weekend. Now, is he being facetious? I'll let you tell it, but he says, how can she say no when the WNBA wouldn't even be around if it wasn't for the NBA? They have subsidized that league forever. Ratings this year, right? Guess how much money the WNBA lost this past year? $50 million, even with Caitlin Clark and her numbers. So the least she could have done was done a solid for her brothers in the NBA. They aren't earning their keep. Let's just be honest. I'm being honest. The least that she could have done was take part in that, and she has ruined the NBA All-Star Weekend for me. Now, this has all the bad faith talking points wrapped in one. This is it's pretty amazing, honestly. Like, the WNBA wouldn't be around if it wasn't for the NBA. Cool. Like, that's legit. But that's not necessarily Caitlin Clark's issue or problem or anything. This league was standing for 26 years before she arrived. She has no connection to that at all. He's talking about, them subsidizing the league and all that, and, how much money the WNBA lost this year was $50 million. That quote-unquote loss of $50 million had to do with making the product better itself, getting charter flights for the athletes. These are things that should have already been done. Of course, it's going to take time, but you can't aim that at Caitlin Clark, saying, even with her numbers and her wild success, that's what you need. That continues, then, those losses get more minimal over time. Now, the funny line for me was the least she could have done was a solid for her brothers in the NBA. She doesn't know them. Like, some of them have been very supportive of Caitlin Clark when a lot of the WNBA media and, even players like other players and retired WNBA players were on Caitlin Clark. It was the NBA players who kind of took up the battle, her like, no, man, she's cold and stuff like that. But I don't think she necessarily has a responsibility to save them commercially. Then he goes on to say they aren't earning their keep. Let's just be honest. I'm being honest. The least she could have done was take part in that, and she has ruined the NBA All-Star Weekend for me. I'm sorry. I find that absolutely ridiculous. Kendrick Lamar has a great phrase he's been pushing since 2022, basically saying, Kendrick Lamar is not your savior. Well, NBA, Caitlin Clark is not your savior. And if she was the one that has ruined this for you, allow me to direct your eyes of 20 years of futility at the dunk contest, a decade of futility in the NBA All-Star game itself. All-Stars not participating in events, not caring, going through the motions. The league not wanting to actually pay the players to make them participate in this event. I don't understand how Caitlin Clark has been the one to ruin this for you. She didn't stink out the All-Star game in Indianapolis last year. She wasn't even in the event last year. This is another thing to throw Caitlin Clark's name on that has nothing to actually do with her, but has to do with something else that people really don't want to discuss. Take it out on the NBA. Take it out on Adam Silver. Take it out on all the best players in the NBA. Take it out on LeBron James for never doing the dunk contest. Take it out on the players for ignoring Julius Erving and Larry Bird. Take it out on the players for turning the All-Star game into the actual NBA three-point shootout. Every so often, I see the clip from the 2001 All-Star game going around with the low camera angle and showing Allen Iverson on the court, Stephon Marbury, Kobe Bryant, Chris Webber, Tim Duncan, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, the Kevin Garnett, the list of names goes on. And you see the score. You see the fourth quarter, you see them competing hard, you see a classic kind of environment, and it's like, hey man, maybe we should just keep it a stack. It was just better before when the players were more engaged. And if that gets your booty holes tight or anything like that, I'm sorry. Caitlin Clark can't be the answer and the solution for every problem. It seems like whatever happens, this woman just can't win. So until next year, when she kicks the ass of the entire WNBA with the new Indiana Fever, we will continue to see things like this. And when it comes to her three-point shootout in the summer, I think she's going to show everyone how it's done. So anyway, my name is Rich Latta. I think what Rob Parker was saying is absolutely ridiculous. And I have a feeling that many of you in the comments will agree. Let me know. This is Rich Latta. It's One Lifetime. Peace.